What's up guys? In this video I'll cover how I built a Track-Ready E36 M3 for just over $10,000 including the car. The video is broken down into two chapters, number one covering the purchase of the car and number two detailing the parts. I'll also give you a cost breakdown since I'm trying to be a financially responsible and budget conscious car enthusiast. I know there's no such thing, but I'm fucking trying. If you only have time for the TLDR, the two main takeaways are: number one, a bone stock E36 M3 can do well on track as is. It's an M car after all, so it really won't take much more than some basic maintenance items to get the car prepped. For me, it came down to three things. Number one, revamping the cooling system. Number two, a refresh of the brakes. And number three, new tires. The second takeaway is if you're looking to purchase an E36 M3, do your research. 1 hour of research could save you a few $1,000s in repairs. I won't go too in depth of what to look for when buying an E36 M3 in this video because there's lots of good YouTube videos and write-ups about that already. In short, you're going to want to research things like the cooling system and rear shock mounts. Alright, let's get into the meat of the video and talk about the car and the parts that got me my E36 M3 track car for right around $10,000. First, the car. I picked up a 99 M3 coupe with just under 100,000 miles and it was bone stock except for an upgraded alarm and a 20-year-old 3M clear bra. Thankfully, the car was in great mechanical shape with lots of maintenance records, and it helps that I purchased it from a friend, so I trusted the seller and kind of knew what I was getting into. As of April 2020, when this video was recorded, you can find a decent E36 M3 between $6,000 and $10,000 depending on the condition and what's available in your area. For the sake of this video, let's use the KBB pricing of $7,835. KBB isn't always the best measure of value for these cars since they're more collector's items and enthusiast vehicles, so also keep an eye out on Bring a Trailer, along with even Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace. I'm using KBB for this video because during the time of recording, I think the prices are actually reasonably represented based on what I'm seeing in the market. There are a ton of YouTube videos, articles, and forums that cover basically the checklist of items that you should go through. I'll link a few in the description, but I'm not going to go too in depth in this video. All right, let's talk about the parts. The first thing I did when I got the car was an inspection to service because I wanted a baseline for things like an oil change, fuel filter, spark plugs, and diff fluid. Um, as you can see on the screen here, it set me back $275.88 in parts. If anything, this is preventive maintenance, which is the name of the game if you're going to own a BMW. And over the next 2 months of ownership, I began prepping the car for the track. And honestly, it did not take much. I initially planned to run a Willwood big brake kit from UUC, but I wasn't happy with the fitment and ended up returning it. And I can make a separate video explaining why I won't be doing business with UUC ever again. I'm a little salty. To prep the car for the track, I addressed the cooling system, the brakes, and the tires. Those were the three big things for me based on the condition of my car, and that was really it. Again, your E36 that you buy or currently own might need some love in the suspension area or interior. Sagging headliner is a big thing with the E36s, so your mileage may vary. But with my setup, it seems kind of simple, and it really is. If you're familiar with the E36 M3s or some of the older BMWs, in general, you know cooling can be an issue, so that's why it was one of the first things I addressed other than just regular maintenance. The other major things were a new water pump, an aluminum radiator, and I swear by the list that I have because I did a full track day, 5 sessions, it was reasonably warm, and the car gave me zero issues. Now, I'm not the fastest driver, but I've done a dozen or so events and typically drive about 8/10 on the track, so I wouldn't say I'm easy on the car during the sessions either. And as you can see from the list, the cooling system refresh in general cost me $850.54. For the brakes, I actually just refreshed the stock braking system front and rear, and I think it gave me a really good baseline of how the car performs in stock form. I did, fresh fluid and pads, and I was pleasantly surprised at how it did. I only experienced brake fade about 3/4 of the way through each session, and I bet for the beginner driver, you might not need to upgrade the brakes much before a track outing. Now, I do recommend doing fresh brake fluid before a track outing, and as you can see here, the brake refresh that I did It was very simple, but it set me back $157.27. For tires, I ran the Bridgestone RE71Rs in a factory size of the staggered setup of 245 in the rear and 225 in the front. That set of tires set me back $680.10. And I was really happy with these tires on the track. I actually run them on the track and the street. Um, I've also run the Dureza Star Spec Z1, the Z2 Star Spec as well, the G-Force Rivals on different cars. But the RE71Rs I think are one of my favorites because they lasted all day, never got greasy, and since the E36 M3 is fairly light, and I have a good alignment on it, the tire wear really has not been bad. So as far as parts in total, I spent $2,334.82 to get my E36 M3 ready for the track. That's just parts. If you have to pay for labor for somebody to do it, for some of these things, I definitely I paid someone to do the aluminum radiator install. So obviously the costs are going to be a little bit more if you start to factor in labor there. And also, there are a lot of variables here. Your mileage will vary literally based on the condition of the E36 M3 that you have or are looking to purchase. And there are a lot of things that can go wrong with the E36 chassis. Now, everyone has their own build philosophies, just as everyone is different and unique in their own way. But at the end of the day, for me at least, I don't need aero, a big brake kit, a racing seat, coilovers, etc. to get my car on the track. I just love driving. And I think some of the old racers said it best, run what you brung. So there you have it, $6,000 to $10,000 for the car, about $2,500 in parts, and that's how I got my track-ready E36 M3. Now, since this track event, I have done a few other things. I do have some other things in store. I found some used ground control coilovers. Those are installed now. I also got some Cosi K1 wheels, and now I'm running a staggered or a square setup. Sorry. So I'm glad I did a baseline of the car stock at Laguna Seca. I think the quickest time I ran was right around 153. Um, my goal is to get sub 150. I'm confident the car has it in it. I just need some more seat time, but I'm excited to go back and see what the difference is with the coilovers and the square setup. That's it for this video, guys. I appreciate you taking the time and hopefully it was helpful.